Throughout my teenage years, I was conditioned to believe that my worth was determined by my looks, popularity, relationships, and achievements. During my second year of college, I thought that I had finally arrived. I was a cheerleader at BYU, getting decent grades and enjoying awesome friends. I was in the best physical shape of my life, and I had finally landed the boy of my dreams. We had a ring, dress, and date all prepped for our wedding, when one day he called the whole thing off. To say I was devastated is a bit of an understatement. I felt an immense sense of failure. If I had just been more beautiful, more fun, more talented, more fit, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe he would still want me. I went through some dark months. All my pursuits toward worldly success and attractiveness had ultimately left me anxious, broken, empty, and unfulfilled. I decided to seek the opposite of what the world sold. I signed up to be a full-time missionary.
Decided to labor in the Philippines.
3 months later, I found myself sweating my face off in the Philippines. My life up to this point had largely revolved around me, my comfort and preferences, my needs and enjoyment. And suddenly I was stripped of everything comfortable or even familiar. I was showering out of a freezing bucket, being eaten alive by mosquitoes, living with girls I couldn't relate to or even communicate with, eating or attempting to eat things that should not be edible, hand washing all my dishes and clothes, tromping through muddy jungles, being awakened to cockroaches crawling up my neck, or spending sleepless nights melting during frequent power outages, and wishing more than anything that I could just talk to my mom on the phone for 5 minutes. I began to recognize that if I continued focusing on myself, I would not survive. I would give up and go home. So I did the only thing that seemed logical at that point. I tried, with considerable effort and divine assistance, to see beyond my own pain, loneliness, and frustration. Immediately, something magical began to happen. I started to fall in love with the Filipino people. Their success, progression, and fulfillment became more important than my own. Serving them became my passion, focus, and privilege. So every day for the next year and a half, I did my best to forget myself. Fast forward to the end of my mission when home was just weeks away. I wore the same torn and ragged clothes I had hand scrubbed since I started, complemented by my rubber muddy Crocs. A balding bun held what was left of my hair, and my rice diet had settled plumply in my cheeks and belly. I was riding home in a tricycle, holding our groceries for the week on my lap. Raw fish dripped blood and other liquid down my legs, and I physically looked and smelled probably the worst I ever had in my life. But as I was bouncing home, I looked up and caught a glimpse of myself in the cab mirror. I couldn't look away. I was glowing. My countenance shone so bright, it actually shocked me. The light was so radiant and brilliant that for the first time in my entire life, I said to myself, I am so beautiful. I am so beautiful. C. Terry Warner said, constant concern about the self is bondage. Self-forgetfulness is freedom. Everything the world sold had bought me bondage. Bondage to my insecurities, anxieties, fears, and frustrations. Bondage to my own pride and limited perspective. But forgetting about myself and being consumed in the service of others had brought freedom. Freedom from sin and selfishness. Freedom to see my true identity and purpose. Freedom to love, help, hope, and heal.